Hello, and welcome to the live season in review for the challenge Double Agents. I normally do this every single year, but I decided to do it live and bring on some of my friends who are challenge obsessed and reality TV obsessed as well. If you guys want to introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Angie with Kiss My Cheeks TV.
Yep, and I'm Charles Warren. Charles Warren on everything. Yeah.
It's actually really cool to have you guys on my channel because you guys have been on. I've been on your guys' channel multiple times. Charles mainly for Big Brother, and then Angie this season for our fantasy league for the challenge. So I thought no better people to bring on to doing a season review than two that I know. One that are great and entertaining, and I have a great time having conversations with you about reality TV and the challenge, and also people that I know that are watching the challenge extensively and have some hot takes. Right. So thank you for joining me tonight. And thank you to everybody coming in, finding a seat, getting into the comment section. So I think this was like the perfect time to have this as well, because I just want to say that we got the first part of the reunion and I had to go into the challenge wiki page just to get like a refresher. And there were some people that I did not remember were even on this season, like Nicole Z. I had no idea. I was like, oh my gosh, that was right. She was on.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's so many medical DQs this season, and they were all on my team, it seems like. They were all on my fantasy team. And again, congratulations to Drew. Drew had y'all both had a winner. Angie had CT.
I had CT. Amber B.
So
I just wanted to say that I was excited going into those finals because I had somebody on every team besides Fessy and Casey. So I was like, I'm good either way. Let's do this thing.
Oh, that was a good odds.
So I was
3 out of 4.
I would have been over the top if it was Cam and Corey that came in first, because I had both of them on my team. So that would have been amazing, but that did not happen. So normally how I do a season review, I normally break the season down piece by piece, topic by topic, and then we go into like a rating of 1 through 5, and then we like add them all up and then average them out to see where we get the grading, the final grade, and where it stacks up at the end of the season, and see how it stacks up with the rest of the challenge universe of 1 through 35 and where this could stack up. First, there's no better place than to start with the cast. Coming into the season, we got 30 competitors, one of the bigger casts on the challenge season, I think, besides, Dirty 30 had, of course, 30 competitors on there. We got a ton of competitors, 10 rookies making their main challenge season debut. I think that's one of the higher rookie classes besides Fresh Meat and War of the Worlds, when they had like exactly half coming in completely new to the season. And then we only had 4 challenge champs coming in with Wes, Darrell, CT, and Ashley. Coming into the challenge season, what were you guys assuming or expecting from the cast? And also, how do you think they did throughout the season? Let's start with Charles.
Start of this season, we take it back months and months ago. I was super excited. You guys know, once we saw Natalie, I think everybody was hyped about, especially the women on this season, because Natalie, Lolo, even Amber from Big Brother, those women are competitors. So we were super hyped about, especially the women coming in. I was kind of iffy the fact that they reached over to wrestling like WWE and other, franchises, but coming into it, I was hyped. I was ready. I thought it was too many people, but I was excited.
Okay. Angie, what do you think?
I agree. Too many people. I think they should stick around the 24 because it's too many people to keep up with and strategize with in the beginning. But overall, I love the cast. Like, this was a great cast. I was super excited to see Natalie, super excited to see Lolo. A lot of the vets I was excited to see come back. What surprised me the most this season with the cast is how they chose to play it. I felt like so many of the strong people went out so soon, which made the later half of the season more like, okay, just where's the final? So they kind of played it I mean, because they usually get rid of the no name, what do they call them, rookies first. And so
Layups.
layups. So it,
Uh-oh.
but I enjoyed the casting. I like that they're pulling from different shows. I'm so excited that they're pulling from Survivor because Survivor is like my number one favorite competition show. So I'm happy to see more Survivor players come over.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, seeing some of the rumored cast, we're getting a little bit more of the Survivor players. Coming into the cast, I really liked the vets. I thought the vets were going to be coming in stacked. Some of the rookies, I was a little bit more apprehensive about from not from getting our America's Got Talent with Joseph Allen. I
Yeah.
think a lot of
What's going on there?
But it was also COVID, so maybe that's why they had to really dig deep for some of those rookies. But I think it'll get better as more people are getting the vaccine and the numbers are going down.
Yeah, exactly. But overall, I thought the cast was decent. I think it had a lot of potential. I always come into this, you get competitors from all like facts of life and reality TV, where you're getting a lot from like romance of Are You the One, and we got some from X on the Beach. Yeah, Michi.
Hmm.
Yeah, Shipwrecked UK. I was a little bit like, what are we gonna get from them? But I was a little bit more optimistic. But I think
Never
a
seen
lot. I think a lot of competitors kind of were just like in the middle a little bit. I think 30 people in a house with such big personalities and so many people that they want to highlight in all these episodes. I think it's just a pretty difficult to highlight everybody. So I think a little bit get into the wayside and get put back a little bit. Saying like Nicole Z, like we were talking about, like I kind of forgot that she was even on the season, and that also goes for the fact that how long the season was in general. What do we think about the rookie cast in what do we think? How do they factor into the season, and do we expect to see any of them return next season, or possibly more seasons as we go along here? Kind of like how some have made their namesake, like Corey and Nelson. Are we going to see more of them, or do you think that they're just going to keep pumping in some more of these rookies from all different like shows and try to see what sticks? Angie.
They're going to keep pumping in rookies until they find who fits and who can stick and who really has what the challenge is looking for. And I feel like they may do that a couple of more seasons and then go back to kind of easing in the rookies. Um, I want to see a lot of them come back. I want to see Natalie have another chance.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's a very unfortunate. Well, it wasn't unfortunate why she left, but it was unfortunate the conclusion of her situation. I don't know if you talked about it. I don't want to say, but I want to see Natalie come back. I do. I hate that Lolo quit, but I really want to see Lolo have a chance to actually play the game. Maybe in not a. I like Lolo. I know she's crazy. I like her. She doesn't need a partner. She has to come back for a solo game, but she probably won't because she kind of trashed them. Um, I forgot Michi was on the show until you just said his name. So I think like they're throwing people out there, but some people don't stick.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that they're bringing rookies because usually the rookies are the layups. I like that they're bringing rookies that can challenge the vets. Like Nam, they have that one guy from Too Hot to Handle that's supposed to be on next season. I can't wait to see what he can do with these vets.
Oh
So
yeah. All right, Charles.
Okay. So with the rookies, there's only 4 of them that I could see coming back. One is the superstar Natalie, of course. The Natalie has to
Mm-hmm.
come back
has
for
to.
sure. Nam for the guys. I
Nam.
think Nam may be the only rookie male to come back from
Mm-hmm.
this particular cast. I see Amber B because she's now a winner.
A
So
champ.
a champ. So Amber is definitely going to come back. And
Not just
Gabby. I think Gabby. I think Gabby. She, she's cute, and she might be Bessie's future love interest if he's not with Tori. Who knows? But we might get more Gabby and Bessie, storyline in the
No,
future.
please
You
don't.
never know.
Gabby just said she has a man. She's taken.
How long that's gonna last? We don't know. We don't know how long.
I mean, she's in Dubai, so I mean, or was in the Dubai when she was filming the reunion. I'm kind of in the same realm as Charles. I don't know how many are going to actually come back to do the challenge more times. I'm really happy to see Nam is in the mix for the upcoming season. I just hate that he had to go out on a medical DQ. Yeah, I mean, other than that, I don't know. I mean, definitely Amber B needs to come back and protect her title. Liv is supposed to be, well, she was on the original rumored cast of coming back. But yeah, I don't know how many of these rookies are actually going to stick and be like namesakes as we've seen coming on from the challenge. I don't know if that has to deal with like them not being on from MTV properties or something to that effect. I feel like they're definitely dipping into, now that it's all Paramount Plus, they're all going to be dipping into this Paramount pool, trying to like grab as many as they can. So to me, I don't know.
But don't you think, since the challenge, like we discussed many lives before, the challenge is trying to go away from the party vibes, the hookup vibes, the get drunk and fight vibes. So they need rookies who are going to compete. We don't need all these I'm just cute looking for a boyfriend or girlfriend type rookies. We need the Noms, we need the Natalies. They need more rookies in that realm of people who want to compete and who can compete, not just want to, but who can come to the challenge and actually perform.
Especially with the Gold Skull twist, which we'll get into in the next realm. I think we're good with the cast. I think the format's going to take us the longest to talk about because that has so many aspects to it and everybody has their own thoughts about it. One more thing I do want to bring up, because I did see somebody bring it up in the comments here, is that this was the first time that Bananas was away from the season, or not on a season, since season 23, Battle of the Seasons. Do you think that helped or hindered or made no difference in this season whatsoever?
When there's no Bananas, it helps because there's always going to be a ring of people that want to play for Banana, that like, we're scared of Bananas, and then some of the rookies will flock to. I personally like that there was no Bananas there because I want to see what can you do without having to pander to Bananas because he's the face of the challenge. Like, let's move on from that. And I think he should just go over to All Stars and play around there.
Okay. What do you think, Charles?
So let's take it back months ago when the season first started. It was a great thing that Bananas wasn't there because this was maybe like the first time in a long time, if ever, that they were coming after the champs.
The champs, yes.
It wasn't the rookies being the first bait out the door. And I think that was mainly because Bananas wasn't there. Bananas has that presence. Bananas controls every group conversation. And CT just didn't have that grasp. We saw CT trying to pivot, but CT just doesn't have that talent, that ability to use his words the same way Bananas
That's
does.
not his role.
Right. So I do think it made a difference at the beginning. I just don't think the rookies followed through. I really wanted them to follow through with that, but
yeah, that I'm not gonna lie, that whole campaign went out the window after like episode 1, and
it did.
I think that twist of like, it's gonna be like everybody thinking it was gonna be a partner elimination, and then they swapped it to being either a men or a women's elimination. When it became a women's elimination, I think that really kind of, I don't know, scared everybody of pushing it. I agree that I don't think I'm totally fine with Bananas not being on there. He just won. He's been doing it since for a while. And then, like I said, he hasn't taken a break since season 23. He's doing 2 shows now. I don't think it would have helped or hurt. I think if anything, they would have, if it wasn't going to be CT and Ashley being thrown in first, it was going to be Bananas and whoever he partnered up with going up against Wes and Natalie in the first elimination. I could see, or they would have tried to, or they would have tried throwing in like
so.
I don't think so. If Bananas was there, they wouldn't have the balls to throw him in. I don't think.
No, if you never would have had the CT not picking Cam, they would have never even pivoted to that strategy. And I think production came in and shut that down. It was like, no, it's girls. You're not getting ready to get rid of CT and West right now. And then they just went back to the drawing board. But I feel like that let's go after the champs, that only came up because CT dissed Cam. If that would have never happened, we don't know where it would have went.
I mean, okay. I think we bring up a good amount. What?
But you have to think, Cam is connected to her man, obviously, but her man is the wingman of Bananas. So they would not have allowed Bananas to go in first. Leroy would not have allowed that.
No, he wouldn't have.
That wouldn't have happened.
That's true. I mean, he would have been playing in Leroy's corner. I could see that. Okay. I mean, you've set me on the right ways. I mean, yeah, I could totally see that now. All right. So now we've come to the point, I think, with the cast. We've gotten a good feel for it. Out of a possible rating of 1 through 5, 5 being the highest or the best, and 1 being the absolute worst, where would you rank this cast in as a whole?
At the beginning of the season or the end of the season?
They get a 3.
You know what? It's taking all of it in. Like
all of it in after seeing all the quitters, all the injuries.
Right.
I would give it a 2, a good solid 2. So a 4 out of 10. I hate quitters. I hate all of that. Yeah. I'll give it a 4 out of 10.
That's why I gave it a 3. I was judging it high because I was excited when I first saw the cast and we did the cast review. And then once I saw how everyone quit, didn't really participate, gave up in eliminations, I was like, womp womp. It went down to a 3.
A 2. It's a 2, baby. It's 2 for me.
I put it in the middle. I gave them they got a C. A C.
You know what? Even though the cast there was a lot of medical DQs and the season did go a little bit long and it kind of got a little bit more repetitious and things became predictable. I thought we had I think we got a great solid 6 at the end. Like the top 3 duos by the time we got to it were the 3 duos that I think deserved it to get into the end. I think if anybody else made it in there, I think I would be scratching my head, but I wouldn't
say that.
I wouldn't say that because I don't think Corey deserved to be in the final, but that was on Twitter.
I know Corey. I don't think Amber B deserved to be in the final, but that's
I'm gonna be in the middle of both y'all. I'm gonna say a 2.5. I'll give it a 2.5. Okay. I think that's a great compromise. I think we all get into it's in the middle of the group. I think we start off knowing that we can get better. We can get better on this. All right, let's go into
better.
Oh, definitely. Let's go into the format. Now, when I say format, I mean everything. We're going with the theme of the spies and the double agents, everyone getting to pick their partners in the beginning. Besides Fessy, he got chosen for him. Everybody getting to switch partners, compromised agents, rogue agents, security breaches, which I don't even think that's a twist. I just think that was just them needing to bring in people and doing all that. What do we think of all the twists and also the gold skull? That was a huge topic coming into the season and throughout the season. Gold skull, no gold skull. Where are we on the whole scenario of the gold skull and the twists in general of the season? Charles, we can start with you. Also, somebody was saying that you're a little too low in the chat. So, I mean, not like, not posture wise. Yeah, your volume's low.
Okay. I'll try to speak up. That's a whole lot.
I
Starting
That
know.
is
from
a lot.
so starting from the very first couple episodes, I did like. Okay, so I'm trying to think back to when Anissa and Fessy won the first competition. I
Mhm.
didn't like the fact that Fessy was forced to be Anissa's partner. So that was even with formatting. Maybe the winning male and the winning female could have picked a partner.
Hmm.
I don't know. They should have did something different with partner picking because it felt like they were in like class, like economics class, and it was like, okay, group projects. The closest person you're near is like your
Right.
partner. Um, also, it's just a whole lot. So I'll just start with the partner
With
picking.
the
I
partner
think that could have
picking,
been done a little differently.
I agree. Um, I didn't get it until the reunion when Fessy said it, and he was like, "I'm the only one who didn't get to pick." I agree. If a male and a female win, they should have had first dibs at who they wanted each, and then if you want to be a free for all, be a free for all, or they could do it like fresh meat, like whoever guesses their colors first, pick a partner in that order. I don't know, but I do agree. The first twist with Fessy having to be with Anissa, it was kind of like I won this challenge and I get a C- partner. So
Okay. I mean, I could see that. And yeah, I totally got that vibe from it, Charles, as well. It's just like everybody's just like hurrying up doing it. Like Corey and Tori, maybe Corey wanted to be with Tori, but it was just like instantly they were just standing next to each other and they're like, "You're my partner, we're partners, we're good," kind of thing. Um, and then we got the whole Cam getting snubbed by CT. That was, oh my gosh, that was an experience that CT was thrown throughout the whole season with. So we got everybody's partners. Now we got compromised agents. First of all, I got confused during this season with the compromised agents just for the sole fact that Devin did not have a partner within the house, but he was still being able to be voted into the elimination. And then after that, nobody else was able to be thrown in, which I felt was like, was it an oversight or was that just production going like trying to figure it out on the fly? Um, does anybody have an idea of that, or do you think it
Yeah.
was just like whatever?
compromised agent.
Well, with the rogue agent, I didn't like that twist. I think maybe they didn't know that they were going to have an odd man out every time, so now they just gave it a name and it's like, okay, you'll get to stay. You're safe. But I
The
feel
rogue
like if
agent should have had a power, not just be safe.
no, they should have had to go down to the elimination. I feel like if there is somebody left over, you shouldn't been able to do what Corey did. You shouldn't be able to literally be safe
Yeah,
all
yeah.
season just because your partner sucks or your team sucks. So you get to kick your partner off and then you get to stay safe. I
And then
didn't
you're
like that
safe.
part of it. Yeah.
Mm, I didn't care about the rogue agent. I felt like what I didn't like about the format that made the show boring is TJ. It's kind of like you automatically knew week after week if it's a girls' week or a guys' week. I wish TJ would have flipped the script a few times. So it'd be like, okay, I'm voting them in because I really want Ashley and Cam to go against each other. But bam, it's Kyle and whoever Ashley's partner was, I forget. So I wish TJ would have flipped it because it's kind of like it would make you think twice about your vote. And I agree with Charles. It would be more exciting, even though you rogue. Okay, you can't participate in the daily, but you could still be voted in. So I agree that should have been something too. But I do have a few ideas, but I'll wait till we get to them.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the rogue agents either. I think also something that made the season a little bit more predictable was how many, like we mentioned before, medical DQs, people wanting to leave
Yeah,
the season because how many people were leaving the season, then they had to overcompensate and be like, oh well, now we have to have 3 girls' days in a row, 3 men's
Yeah.
days in a row, and then it was just like, I think I want to see what this season would have been like if they didn't have any medical DQs? Like, would they? Because I think there's a lot of what ifs on the season of like, what would the format have looked like? Would there have been a purge? Would have there been more double eliminations besides just the one? And it really helped out CT and Darrell get their gold skulls into the like that's just my thought. It's like there were so many people, especially after that roadkill a daily challenge, which we'll get to the daily challenges. But after that roadkill and then everybody just left, it was like, wow, well, we kind of know exactly who's going to be going into the elimination. There's so many compromised agents and or rogue agents. And I just think that it was cool on paper, but production was just like, as it was going on, they were like, oh, well, this sucks. Like, right. I wonder, editing, please help us in the board because this,
and I guess they really couldn't bring people back due to quarantine. So it's not like they had a stack of people like, okay, 3 are medically DQ'd, these 3 come back. So I do agree. I think maybe they would have had a purge because that's what I'm looking for with these skulls. I'm looking for I like the idea of the skulls, but I'm looking for the day when that alarm goes off and TJ is like, if you don't have a skull, get out. Like, you waited too long.
Oh, yeah.
That's what would make it more exciting. Like, but this, everybody gets a chance. It doesn't make it fun.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and there was like 30 people on this cast, like we were talking about, and then
they needed a purge.
10 skulls, but then we had like another elimination. We had another 2 eliminations at the end. That was a double hall brawl. I think what gets me about the format of this season is that you can have too many twists. Like, that could be a problem. Like, just having too many twists or having it be too complex. Also, I'm not gonna lie, because of how everything was a spy, I didn't like how they kept on calling TJ a handler throughout the whole season. Just call him a host. Like, I just thought they went way too heavy into this theme. I'm not a fan of that. Let's just go back to rivals. Let's go back to like exes.
It's not over.
Oh, I know it's not over. He activated a challenge.
It's not over.
But why couldn't they keep it a secret? You have to refresh me. What happened for them not to be able to keep the fact that they knew the votes a secret? Who spilled that to the house?
Wasn't it Fessy?
Yeah, it was. And it was like episode 2. Like, they didn't even keep it a secret that long. If it's going to be a secret vote, it needs to be secret. If it's going to be stand up and say your vote and people can know how you voted, then let's have it out in the open. But the whole thing is, only the daily winners can see the vote. And then after episode 2, you tell everybody, we can see you guys vote. Just take it out then. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, it was gonna get out there regardless. However long it took them to say it, somebody was gonna spill the beans. But it just seemed like it was super early on, and then and it didn't help that Fessy and Anissa won the top 2 in a row, especially with that one where nobody wanted to give them a capsule, a missile, or I spy. That was awkward in the middle of everybody just being like, "Who do we do? What do we do? What do we do?" Yeah, I just think that there's just too much complexity. I think of like All Stars now. It's pretty simple. You go do a challenge. The last place goes straight into the elimination. There's a vote. There was a lifesaver. Spoiler alert, there's no more lifesavers now. But I mean, it's kind of like that's the whole game. And we kind of get it's now on just social and doing best in eliminations. Now there's like rogue agents, compromised agents. Somebody can throw themselves in. Somebody doesn't want to throw themselves in. Also, can I just ask you two while you're here, because I have no idea, what's the point of getting your skull early if the season is so long? Because TJ was like in episode two or 3, he's just like, why don't you want to go into the elimination? It's like, because it's episode 4, TJ. We got 15 more. I feel like I'll be able to get my shot here. I just didn't understand why he was so disappointed with people being like, oh, you don't want to come down here? What are you doing?
That's why it's not exciting, because they now know everyone's going to get a chance. So now they're going to go back to rookie, and everyone's going to just fight it out for the end. I feel like they need a purge. they need to, if it's 5 skulls, it's 5 skulls, and then work it down to 3 skulls, and then the top 3 get to go to the final.
Yeah, I feel like, okay, so with the biggest thing for formatting with me, if we're gonna have a team couples pair season, then we need to have couples pairs eliminations.
Yes.
You need to have
Yes.
more writing on the fact that this person is your partner. It can't be
Mhm.
production saying, "Oh, well, we want to save CT, so keep throwing CT's partner in." It's not
Mhm.
male this week. We can't keep doing that. We have to have it to where CT really needs to depend on Big T when they go in this elimination,
And
because this
CT
is
and
a
Big T
pair
would have been
season.
home. They would have been home.
Not if it's swimming.
If CT had to rely on Big T in elimination, they would have been home.
That would have made
Sitting
better
down,
TV. That would have made better
watching it
TV.
like us.
Well, and I think Love by You brings up a good point. I thought of like, okay, what if in the middle of the season they had a purge, but everyone who had a skull was immune from going into that daily challenge of doing a purge? So it's like, to me, that would make the most sense of why you would want to get your skull early, because then you're not worried about having a purge daily challenge or something to that effect. Like there's some incentive to getting a skull early. Earlier on just means like, oh, somebody's gonna have to try to steal it. Well, I already got it in, like Kyle got it in episode 2, never went to a single elimination till the very end and got rocked by Fessy and got medically DQ'd. So it's like, what does that skull help you out when you get it in day 2? And then all the way up to the end. So to me, it's like there has to be some incentive.
Corey waited to the very end to get his, and it would have made much better TV and a better storyline for the Corey curse if every time his partner was eliminated, we knew that he was going to have to protect his skull. Like he was going to have to go in and knock a guy out as well. Then it maybe would have given Corey a Big T storyline, because Big T, she got the best at it this season. The award for best storyline goes to Big T for this season for sure.
Oh, definitely. I think also oh man, I was gonna say also the house is like too nice to each other. Like Corey was like, I just want to go in and get my skull and get a shot to get my skull, and everybody's just like, okay, yeah, we'll send you in. We don't want our skull to get hurt. And it's like, I don't know. Everybody talked about trying to ice out CT, but it's like you could have iced out anybody really, and everybody's waiting. I mean, Corey was getting rogue every other episode, and it could have been like, oh well, he kind of missed it, but nobody missed it. They had even extra opportunities for people to get their skull taken from them. So I don't know. I felt like last season the skull twist was good. And it was like, oh, it's kind of decent. We all have to go see it. But then it's like, it took like 20 steps back in this season, or the season was just way too long. I mean, It was 19 episodes. So, and that's including the finals, the two part final. But I mean, it just was like, it was just a lot. I just think it was like way too long, even though they had 30 competitors. It was just way too long to make it feel like it was worth it. I don't know. That's just my thought on it. Does anybody else have anything to say about the twists? Or I thought we were going to go longer on the twist, but now we're just like talking about the skulls and what could.
We could talk about it forever.
I like the skulls, so I want them to keep the skulls. Just do better with it, or because to me the only benefit you have of getting your skull early is if you're like a CT or a Fessy, like someone who you know. Nobody's gonna challenge me for my skull, so let me go ahead and get it, and y'all do what y'all do with the rest. To me, that's the only benefit. Like Josh should have waited to go later, because people are coming from your skull. Devin, people are coming for your skull. So to me, if you're a layup, I will wait. It's no point of going early.
Yeah. Also, so that brings up a good point. We did talk about how there was a teaser at the end of this season heading into the next season, which makes it feel like it's going to be like a Double Agents season 2, Double Agents 2. With the quick turnaround, do we think that they are taking into account and really tweaking this stuff up? Or are you worried that we could get like a copy and paste kind of season? And that's what we're in for with Challenge 37. Because that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried that we're kind of just like, hurry up, let's go. We got some of these people already in quarantine. We already know that they're good. Let's lock them in for another season and let's get this thing rolling.
I think the one thing that's going to be different are stricter contracts. You're not going to be able to leave the house just because you miss your girlfriend or because you miss the people at home. You're not going to be able to leave the season unless
if you quit,
like really
you don't get
hurt.
paid. That's what should be in the contract. If you
too.
quit, you don't get paid because
Big Brother don't play that. Big Brother does not play. You can't just leave the Big Brother house. You're not getting those checks.
Oh yeah, that was a main thing of this past season. I'll say that right now. There were so many people wanting to leave that house, and there were so many of us wanting to see some of those people leave. Like they were just like, please go.
We know they get money for every week they're there for every episode, and if you leave, like Angie said, you're not getting any of that money.
Yeah.
But I think your question, Drew, is going to be copy paste. I don't see them having enough time to actually listen to what people want to critique about the season to change it. I feel like if they are going to make any changes, it might be challenge 38.
Yeah, see, it's kind of like the thought process of Fessy when he was in challenge 35 doing his final, getting 4th place, and then he gets quickly onto this one. It's a snowy place. It happened so soon after 35, and he's thinking that he's going to actually make it up this mountain and do really well. He was doing really well until eating, and he just could not eat, and his partner could not walk.
Could not or would not.
Or well,
right.
His brain made it say that it could not, and then he kept on just being like, "Yo, let's just my partner's leg hurt, so I can't eat with knowing my partner can't walk." Oh my goodness.
He could have picked her up like a book bag.
No, Casey ain't that light. But another thing about this copy paste, a lot of the cast is copy and paste. So are we going to get the same gameplay? Are we going to get the same alliances steamrolling through the season? Are some people finally going to be like, okay, Big Brother, we're tired of you. We vote you in first. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm still be excited to see it.
I mean, I think the better part is that we're getting more, possibly getting more Survivor players, but not as many. No, I mean, we're getting the same amount of Big Brother players, except Amber B is supposedly not on the rumored cast list. See, that's another thing. All the vets for next season are the same plus Amanda. So with a lot of the vets coming back to this season and the same kind of theme, that's what gets me worried as well.
It's going to be the same game.
Why are they bringing Amanda back? Ew. I'm sorry.
Because Ashley needs a friend.
Yikes.
We'll see what happens. But all right, so we could talk about this forever. I feel like we're again dragging these gold skulls through the dirt, like everybody else has throughout the season. I think we all agree that they can be done well. They just have not been done to the performance or potential of what everybody is thinking, or thought or hoped. So hopefully they took some time to think about this. Maybe production was thinking during this long season, trying to figure out what they could do to help push this on. So with that being said, what are we giving the format of this season? Theme, twists, skulls, compromise, rogue? What are we thinking in terms of 1 through 5? 1 being the worst, 5 being the absolute best.
I'll give
compared to past seasons, right?
I mean, just how does it make you feel on the inside? Like, yeah, it could be compared to past seasons, maybe, yeah.
Because back in the day, they used to do rock, paper, scissors over iPads. So I give it like a 3.5 because I really like the fact that you have to go in and you have to go through an elimination. That's the really big part. Even though it's too long, the cast is, it's okay. I give it a 3.5. for the fact that I like the gold skull. I like the red skull, gold skull. It's gonna be blue skull next time. I don't care, but you got to get a skull. I like that.
I agree. I like the skull twist. Despite outside of just calling everybody an agent, it really was just a regular game of the challenge. But as long as you have a skull, you'll grade high for me. So I'll give it a 3.5 as well.
Okay. I think.
Oh, I miss Josh and Theo too.
Yeah. I will say that
Theo compete with one eye.
I think he got cleared.
Wow.
Recently, I think he got cleared, but he did become a father during an off season. And then I think he did get cleared, but then everything happened with the pandemic. And I think that a lot of places were shut down and locked down. But
yeah, we haven't seen a lot of the British players.
Yeah, no. I mean, we got Big T and Liv this season. I think. Is that it?
But we're not done with format, Drew. Drew, give us your rating, and then let's talk about the rebrand, because they're rebranding. They're trying to become
family friendly,
more serious. Yeah, a more serious competition.
They're trying to become Ninja Warrior with a house.
I'm not mad at that though. But make the
real
strategy good. Like, I'm not mad at you going away from your. Oh wait, Drew, you got to give me your score first.
Yeah,
I forgot Gabby was. I forgot Gabby too. And Kyle, guys, thank you for being quick to point out my flaws and my mental breaks. I think creativity. It was nice. I think the theme was decent. I miss colors. I miss watching like Dirty 30 and Invasion of the Champions when everyone had their own like shirts that were all different colors.
Team colors.
Yeah, I mean, they've just been getting darker and darker with theme and feeling and vibes. I'm gonna give it a 2.8. I can't give it a solid 3, but I'll give it a 2.8.
That is very precise, Drew. Look at you, so professional.
Thank you.
It's like a D+.
So I mean, yeah, I just like putting decimal places, and I just can't give it a full like 3. I just can't do it. All right. Do we want to go into the rebranding talks? Do we want to talk?
I want to talk about the rebranding because that has to do with cast and format. We can let that go after this. So we know they're trying to become like a CrossFit / Big Brother. So they're trying to be in a house strategy, but doing competitions that are more physical than Big Brother. Are their casting choices representing what their rebrand is? That's number one question. And number two, how can they get better at this rebrand?
You have to match your cast to your rebrand. If you want to be Ninja Warriors with a house or Survivor with luxury, you can't cast people who just want to lay out and pretend like we're back in the 2000s and just want to party and hook up. You need strategists. Like, that's the reason why we like Survivor so much. You don't see a party or hookups on Survivor. We like the strategy. So if you want to give us a strategy, more athletic type of game, you have to get more strategic people in there, and then you have to show us their strategy. And make it each episode have a twist. Don't just have a twist of the season. Make every few episodes a twist so people can't guess where the game is going, and it keeps us, the viewers, on our toes as well. So you got to start with the cast. If you want to rebrand, you have to rebrand the type of people you cast as well.
I think, well, first of all, this rebranding is for real. Going into Paramount Plus, checking through their whatever they'll give us in the challenge seasons first and foremost, and then seeing multiple episodes in every season getting just plucked out, just going like, oh, that has something bad in it. No, thank you. We're not going to let this go. I'm surprised. I'm not going to lie. I'm surprised that season 14 is missing and not season 16. Let's just be real. I mean, The Island is probably the most tasteless, disgusting season out there. Yeah, that is like, I just saw they put up episode 1 on their YouTube channel. Like, all right, guys, get ready for this. It's like, no, I don't think you want to be doing that if you're trying to rebrand and stuff. Like, you want to take out season 17, episode 1, because CT beat up Adam and got blood everywhere. But you're going to have a whole season 16 out there. I think you're just picking and choosing at that point. But yeah, I think that's where we're coming down to who they're picking for the cast. So you're picking from Survivor, whose demographic is 4 to 84. America's Got Talent has a wide demographic as well. I think we all like the strategy of the game, but I also think that you have to know who your audience is and who you built for this whole time. Because this challenge season did not feel like a challenge season or like a challenge season of old. They got rid of a lot of kissing, a lot of hookups, a lot of partying, and we were just straight lacing it with the challenges, political, the numbers, and how do we get farther into the game. I think it's definitely a turning period that they want to go into. And I think we're going to be seeing more of that in the Survivor, bringing in more Survivor players, which I'm happy that they're bringing in, but I'm also missing that old vibe that we're getting, that we're kind of getting from All Stars, a Paramount Plus exclusive, where it is a little bit more like OG. It's getting the feeling, getting the vibes, but this season they're like slapping 80s music on whatever and hoping that we're like cool with it, like the new whole thing. Like, This is great. I heard Rick Astley over an elimination. I'm totally cool with this. It's like, I don't know.
Well, do you think the rookies that they had on this season reflect the rebrand?
I don't think so.
No.
To be fair and to be honest, I mean, you're bringing in Michi and Amber M, and granted, I know the backstory of why their storylines were cut down a lot due to everything that was happening personally with Liv, but I think they were brought in at more not as a physical competitors, but more of like drama within the house, and it didn't work out in the end.
But they also bring in certain types of cast to be the first boot because they're used to throwing in the weakest people first. So we're used to seeing Michi's go quick. We're used to Amber M being the first one out. We're used to Amber B actually having to work for her skull and not having pretty much given to her. So I think the format of the way they played this season caused the boring people to last too long. But I don't know. I just, if you want to rebrand, you can't bring in a Liv. Liv is just cute. She's eye candy, but she doesn't do anything. Amber M does nothing. Big T is scared of everything. Like, let them stay at home and bring in people who are going to compete and strategize.
Yeah, I do want to give props to production because, for one, they were in a quarantine situation. That's number one.
Mhm.
So they had to make a club on site.
Yeah,
And,
they
had to
did.
do what they could. They had all these people getting injured and quitting, so they were scrambling for storyline. But with the editing, I did not. Well, maybe they thought America would feed into it, but we got the edit that Big T and Kyle are like the masterminds behind the scenes, to where they're like the main characters of the season. And it's like, you're trying to really convince us that Kyle and Big T are like these West level,
No.
bananas level players because you're giving them so much
To
confessional time.
newbies, but we know. Like, even on the reunion, they made it seem like Big T was this huge mastermind that got Tori out. And I'm like, that just happened to fall into her lap.
I mean,
Same
she
thing
did.
with Joseph. Joseph just
Right.
over talked. He put his foot in his mouth. And
He
she's
volunteered.
Like, ooh, I got him to talk. So, ooh, look at me. I'm doing the hocus pocus. No. Mm-mm.
Oh, come on now. Big T did her thing this season. She went out there, competed, and she got far this season, and
She got far.
She got thrown into that hall brawl like a deer in the headlights. I hated that. I mean, we could have had Fessy versus CT on that. I think that was the one. Yeah, I mean, somebody brought it up in the comments. So if we bring in more competitive based, and also strategy into the game more so than drama, I feel like we're going to get a house full of Casey's. And would that be more exciting, or would it be?
I don't agree.
What strategy does
Laurel,
Casey have?
She got Big Brother numbers. That's all she got. And then
has two people. She has Fessy, and then she has Josh, who is a buffoon.
I mean, those two people
No.
ran the house apparently. Big Brother ran the house almost.
I don't think so. I mean, Casey to me is on the shelf by herself. She's just boring.
That's
right.
Just her
I don't think it'll be
yeah.
a house full of Casey's.
No, because we know Lolo is a competitor and she is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Laurel, she is
crazy too.
Very dominant in her approach, in her speech. There are very competitive people that are crazy. Even Devin. Devin, he doesn't have muscles, but he's very competitive and he talks a lot. He talks a lot of trash. He gets people riled up. To me, this is an unpopular opinion, but if y'all want to have a more Big Brother strategy-like game, I would rather see the mindset of Devin and what relationships he had in the confessionals versus Kyle. Kyle talking all the time about every single thing. I feel like, why is Kyle talking so much? I just don't get that.
I think Kyle just looked good in his confessional look, but that's just me.
Man, he had that white sports jacket with the white turtleneck, and then when he opened his mouth, he looked like Ross that one time where he got his like teeth way too white on the black light. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a balance here, but I also think that something that helps in Survivor is that they have full control of the edit. Challenge has the same thing as well, but I just feel like the Survivor edit is a little bit more compelling strategy wise. Like there's some times where I'm like, what could happen? And I don't know exactly where the votes are going to go. People are talking, they're showing a little bit more of an edit. I think that's another thing that production could help with is the editing. Because, but then again, you're going to 18 cast members on an island with nothing to do, then a challenge house with 30 people, and everybody wants to see their favorites get enough screen time, but that's never going to happen until we get down to like 8 people. And even then it's like, yeah, it's just, yeah, give me 24 9 episodes, 2-part final. Let's go. Let's wrap it up.
9 episodes. Woo, Drew is really trying to get y'all out the house.
I mean, maybe 10 episodes, but then you could
he said wrap it faster. Up.
Let's get it going, man. This
is gonna last 1 week. That's it. Wrap it up.
I mean, think about Cutthroat. That had a good amount of people, but that was only like 10 episodes, 12 episodes. So, I mean, 19 episodes is way too long. Let's just be for real. I mean, that tied the longest. This tied the longest season in challenge history with Final Reckoning. I thought Final Reckoning was over 20 episodes. It was actually 19 according to Challenge Wikia. I don't know if that's. I didn't rewatch Final Reckoning because I will never rewatch that season. Maybe. But yeah, I just think 19 episodes. But then again, we're in a quarantine. We're in a pandemic. I'm happy that we did get a challenge season. It just felt like it went on forever. This was announced in November of last year, right? And then we just got it. It's still going on. I mean, we still have one more part of the finals. I was going to say, it just ended, but no, it did not.
Yeah, we're still have going. One more episode to go.
When did it start? I don't know. I have no clue.
I looked because I went back to find my first review because I thought I was going to refresh and watch all of my old reviews. It was 4 months ago was my first review.
Yeah, it says December 9th, and I don't know if that's counting episode 0.
Right, because they did have... Right, so... If you're going to give me 20 episodes, make it 20 good episops. If not,
don't give me 20.
Cut it down to 15.
No, just don't give me 20. I would like a good 12, 13 being a reunion, and boom.
Oh, yeah, December 7th. December 7th was the declassified because it happened on Monday, the December 7th, and then the Wednesday, that same Wednesday it worked. Yeah, I mean, first of all,
that was before Christmas.
Yes. And then they took, and then they also took New Year's off because I remember that they took New Year's off And so we did miss 1 week. But yeah, it just was. Also, this season was 19 episodes. Gonna get another 2-part final, and then it's like they were all hour and a half, except for maybe 1 or 2 episodes. They were an hour long. So I mean, that even adds to it, like an hour and a half. And one episode had a double elimination and nothing else but Hot Springs and Nam having his back hurt. So there was a lot going on. There was a lot going on this season. All right, let's move on to the dailies. All right. What did we think about the daily challenges this season? If you need a refresher, if there was one that really like stood out into your brain, was your favorite, which one was your least favorite? And what'd you think about some of these daily challenges? If everybody wants me to go first, I thought Smuggle Run and All Brawl was pretty good. I thought that was well done and could be decent. I'll say right now, episode 4, Drone Control, was one of the absolute worst and absolute boring, one of the most boring daily challenges ever. But what do y'all think?
I agree. I think the Smuggle Run, which was like the mini final, where Jay and Teresa, that was probably the best challenge all season for the dailies. The drone, that challenge could have, maybe they just needed to work on it, work on the concept.
No.
But it just didn't work well. It didn't work well.
No. For the most part, I didn't like the challenges this season. They were not well thought out. If we're going back to the rebranding, they don't follow the branding you're trying to go to. They weren't competitive. They weren't physical. It was like some of them, like, remember the challenge where they had to hold on to the net in the helicopter, swirl them around and dunk them in the water. Like, ever since we saw that challenge in the preview, whatever we call it, the trailer, the super trailer, like, I have been looking forward to see them fly around on these bags with the helicopter. And when we saw it, and we saw how none of the guys even participated because they were scared, I was like, this is no, like, that's another thing they need. If you quit, you don't get paid. And if you don't participate in the daily challenge, you don't get your payment for that week either, because what are we watching it for?
Yeah. I think the one you're talking about is Aerial Takedown, I believe, where Casey held on.
Yeah, and they were holding on. You were supposed to try to throw people off the bag, and you were flying around with the helicopter. Like, that looked exciting, but then you didn't participate.
So that brings up a good topic for these daily challenges. I think because of the format and how the numbers were in the house, there's a lot of talk about how Leroy and Casey won a lot of their daily challenges, and it was because they either got helped a good amount of it, or they were so far ahead that everyone decided that if they were on their side and cool with them, that they would just help them try to win and get into power, because they know they wouldn't get their name said at the elimination, and then they controlled the house with the numbers to get whoever they wanted to be voted in. Do you think that's a problem because of the cast? Do you think that's a problem because of the dailies? Or do you think that's just a loophole that the production did not think about and it just kept on happening? Because I remember Survive the Night. I was super excited for that one. It was the eating challenge. There was a lot of components to it. And then all of a sudden it came down to 2 teams, and only the one team was so far ahead that Corey and Gabby just did not even stand a chance, even with Fessy helping them with the math. How does that factor into the dailies talk? Or was that more of the formatting and the cast?
That's format. It's not cast, it's format. It's nothing wrong with having an alliance, and they were doing what they were supposed to do, because, okay, my alliance is going to win it. Why do something I'm actually scared to do? I missed that season where the only people who were safe are the ones that won. And then the bottom 3 had to go in there and flip up cards or whatever they had to do, or pull out that X. Like, you need an X factor to it, because why participate if you have an alliance of half the house and you know you aren't going to go in unless you want to?
Mm-hmm.
It needs to be more exciting to actually try to win these and try not to lose. Because
Right.
some people didn't even care if they lost.
Okay, Charles, do you?
I agree. There's no consequence for being last place, which is a flaw in the system, I think. Um, Maybe we need to, and this is something I'm taking from Big Brother, maybe we need more competitions in isolation because we need to be able to compete and not know how everybody else is doing. Because if they can't, because in the particular competition you're talking about, they can just look right over and say, oh, they're ahead, so I'm not even going to try. They did that so many times this season. So if we had a competition where they were doing that, but it was walls where they couldn't
Mm-hmm.
see, maybe that
Hmm.
would have made people focus in on their individual task or something. You know?
Were in the
Yeah, I think.
cages,
Yeah,
they couldn't see what other people were eating, so all you know is I have to eat this because I want to try to get out
Right.
first.
yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I mean, it would have worked out so much better if they didn't have it all like where everybody could see, or if they're doing it one by one. I mean, make
Right.
them all sit in a cage or
Hmm.
somewhere else, like in a room with all the screaming and whatever. Really try to mentally destroy them before going into this. But it just, I don't know. There was definitely some tweaks that they could have done, but again, this is performed during a pandemic, so I guess we have to give them a little bit of slack for how fast they put together this season. But then again, at the end of the day, it's still a season that we're gonna go back and watch or not watch because of how it was put together. Um, we talked about I Spy, and a lot of people on the comment section said that this should have been put way later in the season, because everyone was still like didn't want to step on eggshells or really hinder anybody or make anybody mad throughout the season, because it was too early and lines. There was still a lot going on. Like people, I think, were still trying to figure out like where everybody was situated. They wanted to get into people's alliances. It was still early on. They didn't want to give Anissa and Fessy a capsule, so we get this like big jumbled mess in the middle. Does it work better later on in the season? Or maybe if we could have done a unanimous dropping of a missile into somebody's or sabotaging somebody, would that have worked better? I don't know how this would
Ani-
work out better.
Anissa and Fessy shouldn't have been able to just stand at their station. That's the flaw.
Mm-hmm.
Anissa and Fessy, because I, went back and did my rewatch, they were chipping away slowly at theirs because they knew if you stand at your station, people don't have the balls to say it to your face or come and put it in your station. They shouldn't have been able to just plant themselves there and prevent
Mm-hmm.
people from, putting it in. I think that was the biggest factor
I could see
to
that.
that.
I could almost
I
see like
just didn't
maybe.
like that challenge.
Yeah, I could see that. I think maybe if they had the like ice chipping stations away from their posts, I think that would have played a lot better, because I think they were trying to be like, oh, you have to do it in front of everybody's face. But to Charles and what Fessy and Anissa case, they were just like, oh, they won't do it. I mean, if we stand next to it, they'd much rather do it when somebody's swimming down the lake. I don't know what it's called in
Right, and
Iceland.
they should have put some type of like timeout factor with the
Yeah.
swimming. If you don't get back to that little floating dock thing by every, let's say, 7 minutes, then your time runs out and your team
Mm-hmm.
is out or something like that. So then that'll make the guy and the girl be switching places so we can have constant motion in the game rather than go get one ice block and let's just sit here because I have no reason to go back in the water if I'm not going to, you know, be active in the competition.
That's true. But I also hate swimming daily challenges when they're in like frigid cold water anyways. Like Nelson almost got freaking hypothermia in the little pool that they had with chipping away ice blocks, which that daily challenge
Hmm.
really blows my mind
Mm-hmm.
how it was put together. Like that made no sense whatsoever. But yeah, I mean, this one, Michi almost drowns. I just hate ice water daily challenges. They stink. Is there any other daily challenges that we can think of? Escape the volcano. I think that this is the one that Fessy is really putting everything behind him, saying like, "Oh, Amber didn't save me. That's why I didn't want her as a partner and everything." Instead of saying like, "Oh, I want Casey. I always wanted Casey. I got her earlier in the season. It was too early, and she got stolen back away from me," kind of thing.
Is that the one that Amber couldn't do the math?
Yeah.
Oh.
What do we think about that one? Because that one had a lot of production.
That's funny for the edit. That's hilarious to me.
I actually like that challenge. It's like another mini final with puzzles. I feel like it shouldn't have always been math, but that was hilarious that she could not figure out that math problem. I think I told Charles she needs to practice her flashcards because it was very basic math. And I understand you might need pencil and paper, but the lock was your pencil and paper. Like once you do one timetable, put it in your lock and keep going until you figure out the combination. I wouldn't want to be her partner either because honestly, we really haven't seen her run. So Fessy didn't really know that she was a runner like that. I wouldn't want to be her partner either after seeing like you didn't even make it past station 1.
Yeah. I mean, to Fessy's point though, I mean, he got all the math right. And so I mean, it wouldn't have hurt him, but I mean, I understand where he's coming from. Also, I think that she did mention in the aftermath that she's like dyslexic. So she could not like she gets a lot of the numbers flipped around. So I mean, I do feel like it sucks that she was put in that situation and she could not like really help it. I mean, everybody else just flying past her kind of thing. But I just thought that it's again, Fessy just using another crutch to be like, I don't want her as my partner because of A, B, and
her
C.
Anyway.
Yeah, no. That's exactly right.
She could have won that challenge for him and he still wouldn't have wanted her as a partner.
That's true. That is very true. And I mean, we can see by the end of it that I'm sure he would want her now, knowing hindsight. One challenge I really enjoy is trivia. And I'm gonna not lie.
Trivia.
I did not like the trivia. I did not like the trivia this season.
True or false? True, false? How dare you? How dare you?
I think they wanted more sabotages, but in that it was just really boring. They didn't even show all the questions. They just kept on going true. That's wrong. Right, wrong, right, wrong. I mean, I was just like, well, this is fun. I can't wait to try to recap this.
You have to say an answer. You have to say an answer so you can make an idiot of yourself.
Yeah. And not like last season. I mean, like at least last season they had to say something besides true or false. Like they still had a 33.33% every time, but I mean, it was still multiple choice. We're not going to get like what's the national language of Australia being Dutch or what's a continent. I mean, we're not getting that anymore with true or false questions. Also, one of the questions was Leroy was the James Bond film, and they were just under the assumption that the James Bond film was going to come out, but it didn't at that time. So Leroy got it wrong, but it was supposed to be right when he said that. It was just that was just weird. I did not like that. I think that was another just terrible. That was a terrible decision on their part.
I agree.
So, all right. What do we think about dailies, guys? What do we think? What 1 through 5?
This season overall gets a 2.15.
Here y'all go with these decimals. These random.
And that's generous. Like the dailies were not that exciting this season, only because they could have, but a lot of people didn't participate. A lot of people quit. A lot of people helped certain teams just win. So it took the excitement out of it. So they get a 2.15.
Okay. To the 100th. Okay, so
To the 1.9
so okay, so quickly going back to the competition you were just talking about, where they had to do math at um the folding tables.
Mhm.
I liked the fact that they tried to put some storyline into it. You know, when they came in the house, there was a twist of
Mm-hmm.
one person has to compete for your team. That
Mhm.
person was tied up or, handcuffed. I actually liked that. It felt like they were actually doing something with the storyline. I felt like if somehow we could have had that woven throughout the season, we could have got a higher grade. Like if we would have had more spy theme, like why is it a spy theme season? Where was the spying? Where was the true like behind the scene decision making, pressing the buttons and snitching and doing like, we really didn't get the fullness of the spy
Mm-hmm.
theme in the dailies or in the gameplay.
Yeah.
So in the daily challenges this season, I'm with y'all. It's a two. it's barely a two. It's right there. Um, it could be better. Maybe they need a writer on staff. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
That could work. I mean, I thought like it was gonna be kind of like the Rivals 3 where they got buried. When TJ took all the women from the house and then they got buried and
Mm-hmm.
they had to do the matching game. I thought it was gonna be something like that. Also, if Fessy and everybody would have like watched the older seasons, they would have known whoever goes with TJ is gonna be just
Mm-hmm.
sitting somewhere and waiting for their partner. Like
All
the
right.
challenge hasn't been activated. I think Mocha brings up a good point that they did more focused on the aesthetics than say difficulty or entertainment. To me, this screams the one where they had to swim and get rings and then bring them back and then decode a message, and it took like literally 2 minutes, and they were just wanting to show off how clear this water was. I was like, that's cool, but Fessy almost drowned Nani. Like,
That
And
shot
half
was in
of the
every
people were
trailer. Every
yeah,
DQ'd
trailer.
because they came up. Most of the people couldn't even finish that challenge.
yeah. So I'm with y'all. I'm gonna give it a full on 2. I'm not gonna put any decimal points. I'm just gonna be putting on 2.
And then
What?
what I hate about that challenge, they had a mouthpiece. So you had oxygen. Why were you coming up for air? The oxygen was right there in your mouth the whole time.
Well, somebody got kicked in the face. Who got kicked in the face?
Outside of that
Nani.
person,
Nani got kicked in
outside
the
of
face.
Nani, but everyone else, you have your oxygen. All you have to do is pull on the rope. Get you like I didn't even understand why people were DQing that challenge. It was like, what is going on here?
Well,
Yeah,
Angie,
Nani.
we know you a professional swimmer, Angie.
You know I like to swim.
Some of these people are scared of water, so maybe it was
Oh well,
nerves.
okay.
Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll give them that because I'm like, if I have the oxygen, I could be underwater all day. Here you have your oxygen.
Maybe maybe it's one of those daily challenges that are harder when you're doing it than what it looks like, because it didn't look all that hard to me, but maybe it was just way more difficult, especially when somebody kicks you in the face. All right. Hot topic issue, eliminations. How did we feel about the eliminations? We got kind of like an old school way of eliminations where there wasn't one elimination for every episode. We kind of got a variation. We got the same name, maybe a different look. Maybe it's a little bit difficult, a little bit more difficult, a little bit. Maybe you're adding balls to a hall brawl. I don't know. What did we think about the eliminations of the season? What did we think about the variants or lack thereof of variants of the eliminations?
Now, I wanted more couples eliminations. I wanted you to
Mhm.
have to depend on your partner. And, somehow production has to have the ability to control the outcome at the last second. And I
Mhm.
think that's the biggest reason why it was like a solo gender thing, like a male or female. Because once they see who's voted on, they can go back behind the camera and say, "Oh, we definitely not getting rid of the two
Mm-hmm.
guys." So we're making this a female. Because if you look at some of the episodes, there were like 3 back-to-back male eliminations, episodes 2, 3, 4. So, you know.
But it's not even that, Charles. Once you see who you think might get voted in, now you have the setup. Okay, we only got 4 eliminations back here. Okay, Leroy going in. Let's give him that thing where he could be set. Oh, Fessy getting ready to go in. Here go his hall brawl. Oh, I felt a lot of setup of production with these eliminations. I did not like that they were all the same. It was very boring. And a few comments before, old girl was like, hall brawls were ruined this season, and I completely 100% agree. I'm like, especially female hall brawls, like, and I honestly don't feel like it's fair for Fessy to get a hall brawl. Like, it's not fair to have this huge man go up against a much smaller person when you know he getting ready to win.
Yeah.
Like, let me see Fessy do something else. Let me see you do the football drills.
I think that's another thing about the lack thereof variance, because when going through this, going through the eliminations and remembering what all they were, only a few of them even had a puzzle in it at one point. Majority of them had to deal with something physical. And to me, that just is just so like an advantage to only like a certain number of competitors. Like, you didn't get the ability to be like, oh, well, yeah, Kyle was going in against Fessy, but luckily it's more of a puzzle, or it's more of a lucky based one where they have to kick a soccer ball or find it in a thing or whatever, like, or hit a mattress against a bell 50 times. Like, it was nothing like that. It was mainly either grabbing a ring and wrestling it away from somebody and putting it on a pole, or a hall brawl 4 times. Yes, and I agree. I thought that there was going to be less like physical eliminations, just for the sole fact that this was during a pandemic. I thought there was going to be like a not so fast, or more puzzles, or eating, or something to that effect, rather than from a distance. But they wanted everybody's like super close up and up in everybody's space besides fire escape, which, I mean, Leroy crushed that elimination. And then Big T went on to win against Anissa in it as well. But I just think that there was not a great variance of this. And I think there was just so many. Also, what was with Darrell and Corey's elimination? What was with that?
Why didn't he have any tension to his string? It was like Corey was like out.
Yeah, but
like,
how
usually
does
once you
Corey
hit a certain point, you have tension in your bungee cord. Like,
yeah. That's what I didn't understand, because even TJ was like, "Oh, it was triple tension. This rope is triple tension." And before that, we got Wes and Devin like going for a good while.
Right.
But it came down to a foot race, and Corey absolutely destroyed Darrell, who was not working on his agility. He is more of a physical specimen.
He's also a 40-year-old man, so that right
is true.
There was rigged for this young specimen to run against one of the only 40-year-olds on the cast.
Yeah.
If it was CT, they would not have put CT in a foot race against Corey. They would not have done that to CT.
Yeah.
But we see what production did in that case.
Yeah, I mean, again, looking at these eliminations,
that string looked long.
It was long. It was so long. Like, it was. I didn't even think it was like attached to anything. I just thought it was like coming out of the ground, and they forgot to attach it. But
it seemed like it was just a foot race.
Yeah, and that's basically what it was.
They were just running.
Asset destruction was more physical, of throwing a ball through a grid after you got it flipped over. Dead Ringer was played multiple times. Fire Escape was played multiple times. I understand that they're trying to get the season out sooner rather than later, but sometimes you just gotta like help it, like do other ones. Maybe a variance of classic eliminations, bring them in. I don't know. I don't think seeing Hall Brawl 4 times and none of them being that compelling is going to help the season. I think you save that for later or don't do it at all. But that's just my opinion on it. Which one was your all favorite? What was your favorite eliminations throughout the season or matchups?
I'm trying to think because
favorite?
I would say that I think the fire escape between Jay and Leroy was
Leroy.
Good. But
that was good.
But I wanted to see the raw footage. If it was less than a minute, I want to see the whole thing. Like, give me the minute, because they used to do that in Invasion where Nelson won in the Inside Out challenge between Corey, Shane, and him. He won quickly, but then later on they were like, oh, well, we're going to show it the real time. I want to see the real time. Somebody says Devin and West was a good one. Devin and Darrell was good.
No.
I didn't like that swinging around and unclipping or clipping. I didn't like that ring thing that Cam and Devin and them did. I didn't like that at all.
You didn't like what Nam called it, Peter Pan? Give me the Peter Pan one.
I did not like that one at all.
I'm really trying to think. A lot of them were blowouts.
Yes.
So I don't know any of the. I'm trying to say close ones. I don't know any.
The closest one probably was Leroy and Jay.
I think that was the most like contentious one because Jay was actually getting the good of it. And like Amanda G is saying, she thinks that Jay would have won against anybody else in that elimination, which I agree. I think he had the rhythm down early. Yeah, I mean, I think the matchups were just a lot off in this. I think this really did play into if you're more physical, then you were able to like get the upper hand. Somebody said Nani and Gabby was pretty good. I mean, Nani had that juke move. I won't lie. I mean, she got that juke move going down.
Oh, one that
Nani and Gabby was good.
Teresa and Casey had me like really, because I really wanted Casey to win. You know,
that was editing.
That's my girl. Casey's my girl. So I was like, get her, and she did. So I was excited about that.
I mean,
but that was a blowout. That wasn't even close.
But yeah, Teresa was the villain at that point of the season. So I'm just saying, at that, any elimination that gave me, you know, any type of like hype, it was that one.
What did she do to be a villain? She didn't do anything.
She was the villain because she threw in. Who she
Cam.
Throw in? She threw in Cam and then Leroy.
She gave Cam a skull. I don't want to go back over that because I think we don't agree. I feel like Cam and Leroy are nobody. You are allowed to go in just like anyone else is allowed to go in, and she threw you in.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one was a blowout, but I also think that Teresa was just done at that point on the challenge. I think she was trying her best, but she just, like Corey and everybody was saying, she was not in it at that point. But I think if she was, and also I heard that she was also injured during that elimination. So I mean, again, a lot of what ifs to this season.
Right. There's a lot of blowouts, so it's hard to pick a favorite. Blowout.
But I mean, I think I stand with my pick. With Jay and Leroy, I think they did a good job. Gabby and Nani, I think, were a nice second. I thought Gabby did pretty good in that one until Nani put on that juke move, and Gabby was just like, eh.
Neither of them should have been still on the show that far into the season.
What do you mean?
Gabby on a regular season, Gabby or Nani should have been gone already.
Okay.
I like Anissa and Tori. I liked seeing how Tori couldn't pull her basket of balls over. And she just thought she was the best thing in the house.
That was funny.
I mean, she was coming back too. So I mean, I don't know if that was editing magic, but she was coming back a little bit on that one. So I mean, she was lighting it up. All right, so we talked about the eliminations. You guys thought long and hard about your favorites or lack thereof. So what are we what are we thinking about eliminations for this season?
A 1.
You're going bottom of the barrel.
I give it a 1.
A 1.
Okay.
A 1. A 1.2.
I mean, are we basing that on the competition in it, or like the level of variance? How many times we saw the hall brawl?
Production and the repeats.
Oh,
The production setup, the repeats, and the excitement level. Like, it wasn't exciting.
Right.
To
It wasn't
see all
exciting.
the blowouts. So a 1.2.
There was a lack of competition. It was when you see a Fessy walk in a hall brawl with Kyle, there's only one
The point
outcome.
1.
There's only one outcome.
There
I don't know.
is.
You could be the biggest Kyle fan in the world, baby, but there's only one outcome. So
And they knew Fessy was going in, so why
Mhm.
not give Kyle any kind of a chance? They could have gave him that log one, the Leroy one. They could have gave them the ring one, or throw the balls through the skull again. Like, anything but a hall brawl. You could have gave Kyle a chance.
they really screwed Anissa over because she had to, throw her body weight against Big T. So they really screwed Anissa over.
I'm surprised Big T even finished that one. Whatever. I expected Anissa to do what she did.
Yeah, I think they screwed a lot of people over randomly in these eliminations. And to, I think, Charles's point earlier on, I just think that as fans, we want more transparency in the game and in the rules, and having these rogue agents, compromised agents, who's what eliminations this week. I think it kind of just screwed a lot of people around a little bit. I think they wanted to switch it up more weeks, but because of how many DQs, maybe that played a factor into why they didn't have more doubles. Maybe that's why they didn't have as many variants in the game. But I'm with y'all. I'm gonna give it a 1. 1. I mean, I thought I liked the hall brawl coming into this season, and by the end of this, I was like, "Oh my gosh! Like, no, thank you. Give me anything else."
Hall brawl. If we
I
would
like
have
hall brawls
got
if it's fair.
a CT and Fessy hall brawl, if we would have got like
Amazing.
a Natalie and Cam hall brawl, those hall brawls would have been like, "Yo, tune in. What's about to happen?" But
a Casey and Cam hall brawl.
Yeah, that would have been exciting.
Yet we did not get it.
We saw
the weakest girls go into a hall brawl and pretty much just jog through.
They were dizzy though. You have to give Amber M. She doesn't know if she was in Cali, Massachusetts, or New England. She didn't know where she was. That's why she was just dropping the balls and putting them in all type of places.
Yeah.
Now that first elimination, I thought was fair.
Who?
I thought that they said Ashley was screwed in the first elimination.
No,
I thought that was a fair elimination between Natalie and Ashley.
I think if anybody, we got screwed as a audience, because we could have seen CT versus West. We could have seen two OGs, two champs going at each other, but they made it a women's elimination that day, and they made it Ashley versus Natalie. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't know.
It should have been CT versus West. If West was going to quit a couple of episodes anyway, he should have went in first and just went home.
Or it could have been team versus team, period. And then
I agree. Next season should be team versus team.
Well, and that's another thing that I think is interesting because, okay, so in War of the Worlds, right, we had a 3-person elimination or a double elimination where it was CT versus JP versus Kyle. Mm-hmm. And then we had Natalie versus Maddie versus Liz. I believe that was right. Or Julia.
Nicole was in that one.
It was Natalie, Maddie.
I think Liz, because she was partners with CT. I don't know. It was one of them. It was one of them that we.
There was with the 3 girls. They were pulling in the dirt.
There was the rings. There was rings.
Yeah,
rings.
It was the rings one.
I'm thinking about the Nicole, Ashley, and somebody else one.
Yeah, Liz. Thank you, Jeremiah. It was, or Julia. I don't know. Now everybody say it was a Nolan twin in this elimination. Yes.
One of them.
And the whole point of this was that whoever won each heat was going to be a new team. And coming into this season, I thought that was going to play a bigger factor. I was like, is this going to be like a War of the Worlds thing? Because Kyle and Maddie both won that. They were already partners. They got back up together and it was like, whatever. I thought that was going to play more of a factor in this season where if there was going to be double eliminations every single episode, guess what? You're going single. So if CT and Wes was going to go in, whoever won that was going to be partnered up with whoever won Ashley and Natalie's heat. I thought that was going to play
more exciting.
I thought that was going to play a much bigger factor. That did not. That was just not even going to be anything. And I was kind of disappointed we didn't get more of that throughout the season. Granted, again, medical DQs. It's a historical thing. There were so many of them. I don't know how many times I can say medical DQs. I think I've said it more times than actual medical DQs in the season or withdrawals from the game.
I think I had like 5 of them on my team, 5 or 6 on my fantasy team.
Dang.
So yeah, I was really screwed on that end. Yeah.
But at one point you were winning, so you can't complain that much.
Yeah. But I would have had Natalie in the final. Ooh, that would at least been 1. I think Natalie, if Natalie was in the
Natalie
final,
would have won.
And Darrell had a skull when he wasn't DQ, but I was really betting on him to get to the final. Oh well.
I think Natalie would have made it very far if she was able to stay in the game and she didn't have the pregnancy and the miscarriage and everything. Happy to hear her on the podcast talking about her experiences, and she feels like she's in a much better light and mentality with all of her family and friends behind her on that. Going through all that. So, but yeah, I think she would get in that skull early on, and I think she would have been able to like hold on to it as well throughout the game. All right, we're coming down to one of the final topics, and I say final twice because it is about the finals. What did we think about the finals of this season? Was it everything that we thought and hoped for? What did we think about the purge? What did we think about Fessy and Casey not being able to eat? Casey getting injured? Was it Fessy's fault? Was it an accident? How did we feel? And how do we feel about the winners and how everybody placed?
I didn't like the fact that you would get to a station and then it was kind of like everybody had to stop type deal.
Yes.
Like it
and
was
catch
kind of
up.
like exactly. It was like a go stop. I didn't like that. That didn't really change until the very end, I believe.
Yeah, I didn't like that, and I didn't like that. Oh, let's stop, do a purge style competition now. CT, do you want to stay with Amber or switch? Like, I didn't think it would be fair at all for somebody to switch partners in the middle of the final. And the timing was off because all CT and Amber B got was a 5-minute head start. And okay, maybe Amber B is a fast runner, but CT wasn't running that fast. For them to be able to go up a mountain, forget their code, go back down the mountain, go back up a mountain, solve the puzzle, and be out before anybody else catches up.
Yeah.
I felt the timing was off, and then they went in the wrong direction and had to double back. And it seemed like when they got to TJ, it seemed like they were sitting up there chilling for about 30 minutes before we even saw the last 2 teams.
Yeah, I mean, I heard from the podcast because CT was on there. He talked about how it was over an hour. Him and Amber won an hour up there, and we're kind of just chilling, just doing their thing.
With a 5-minute head start.
With a 5-minute head, 7 if you're counting Cam and Corey being pushed back. But I heard from Cam and Leroy's Patreon that it was longer than 5 minutes. It was longer than a 5-minute head start.
I thought it had to be longer than a 5-minute head start.
But it kind of makes sense to me because when you watch it on the show, when they do have to decrypt the code, we see that CT and Amber only have like 4 of the letters, But CT, because CT is very, very smart, he was able to see the letters that they had left, and he guessed a word. He guessed the correct word. When he put
Mhm.
the right word, it was literally a guess.
But
And
Charles,
they
they
got it
forgot
right.
to look at the code. So they went up there. They had to come
Yeah, but
all the way back.
it wasn't that far back because they got back before anybody got up there. So they literally guessed one time, got it right. You don't know how long it took Corey and Leroy or whoever else to figure out the words based on these letters. I think CT is very
True.
smart and a little bit of luck for the fact that he guessed the first time and got that unscrambled
But they
word right.
also went in the wrong direction. Amber
You
was
know
so
that's
far
editing.
ahead, she went in the wrong
Editing
direction.
tries to make it seem closer than it really is. I
Yeah.
think they maybe got off by 20 steps, but with the commercials and editing and oh my gosh, I don't think it was that far off.
No, because
I
I
did
think
say it was editing.
first of all, Amber went. She was the scout because CT kept on saying, "Go farther. See if you think. Oh, there's the arrow. Come back. Hurry up!"
Right.
Like he didn't even move at all. I thought the finals were all right. There was a portion that I was very huge question mark. First of all, I think the switching of the partners, I think that was very much so like a good twist on paper, but nobody I don't think was ever really going to switch partners in that case. I don't think Leroy would have switched even though Nani was lagging behind a lot. I think he really wanted to finish the game with Nani. Cam was cool with Corey and Corey was cool with Cam, and Fessy wasn't going to trade out his partner unless she was well, I mean, unless she already had the bum injury, but she didn't. So I don't think anybody really would have swapped places with anybody. But one portion that I did get confused about, and I wanted to bring this up, was the checkpoint 4 in the ice cave. Everybody comes in. There's a briefcase for everybody. There's a math problem in the briefcase. You have to try to figure it out. It's CT finishes his really quickly. Then we get Nani coming in, gets hers second, and then we see that Cam gets hers third. And then there's a weird edit in there where TJ goes, "Okay, we're going to be here for all night. We're just going to shut this down. What do we CT, you can switch partners if you want to. What do you want to do?" To me, that was so, what are we doing? Like, is it individual? Is it a team?
Right.
What's going on with this checkpoint? And I heard that there was portions where Cam and Corey got theirs done, even though it made it look like in the edit that they didn't. Nobody else finished but those three. But I heard Corey finished his, and Amber was still trying to finish hers, and that played into a factor. What's going on with this? What do you guys think?
Amber would have never finished. She would have never been able to add up all those numbers. No shade, but I thought that should have been the equalizer. Like, okay, math. Amber can't do math. Everyone's gonna catch up and be on the same playing field. But it was kind of like, okay, whenever your partner finishes, you're done. I didn't like that. I felt like both partners should have had to finish their math equation and then you're done. That would have been an equalizer, but
Was this before or after they had to dunk their face and go to sleep?
Before.
oh, I didn't like that either.
This was before, because they
Before
had to
that,
finish
okay.
the problems before they even get their sleeping arrangement, because this all factored into the sleeping arrangements. Whoever came in first was going to get the better sleeping bags towards just getting a wet blanket and then all that. So to me, it was very confusing. I didn't know if it was one person finishes and then everybody finishes, or what's going on here.
Well, it should have been group math problem.
It should have been group.
three suitcases. Then it shouldn't have been 6 suitcases.
I think,
but they wanted to see who could switch partners. That's why.
Right, and that's another thing. It's like, okay, you made it to where you can switch partners, but everybody's off on so many different times. How are we doing this? Is it because CT was so far ahead that he won, even though nobody was in the cave by the time he got there? Or should they have stopped everybody and waited for everybody to come in, kind of like how they did in the checkpoint 1? where they ran to the mountain or checkpoint 1, where everybody was like sitting there on waiting for to go into the, I don't know. It just seemed really off. And that was a major question mark in my brain of going like, well, what are we doing here? Like, is this individual? You're putting up Amber and CT finished and their time is stopped, but Amber's still at that briefcase, still working on it. So I don't know. That was, again, it doesn't help. This doesn't help MTV's, like, they're being shady, or if they're trying to make this, like, if this is part of the rules, it feels shady or something else is going on behind the scenes. I mean, we didn't talk about it in the eliminations, but Josh's backpack during an elimination is falling down. He's hitting his knees into the podium, and people he's wondering why they didn't get a reset on that. Now we're getting into the the finals, and there's a portion of it that just seems confusing, but they're just like, nah, don't worry about it. We handled it. This is what we're putting out there. Have fun with it. So I don't know. I just thought it was just weird. I was confused. I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on it, because I heard a lot of different things, and some people thought one way, and I feel like it's because it's who they're rooting for, and then some people felt another way and heard some other backstories, and everybody has different perspectives on everything that's happening. But I feel like this is so easy for MTV to just be like, look, this is exactly what it is, instead of just, here's briefcases, finish a math problem. All right, we're done. We're calling it. Like, it just seemed weird.
Maybe Amber B timed out. Because remember, for whatever reason, Casey and Fessy timed out of their eating challenge. So he was like, okay, you guys didn't eat. You're done. Challenge over. Maybe Amber B timed out and couldn't figure out the math. And he was like, okay, your partner already finished first anyway. Let's kill this so you guys can move on.
I mean, true. And Amanda brings up a good point. This was probably the purge portion of the finals, but because Fessy and Casey could not eat, or would not eat, at least Fessy wouldn't, they were already eliminated from the game. So that could have played a factor in it as well. Also, what did we think of Fessy being purged the way he was? That was pretty early on. That was checkpoint 2. That was before we even got into really anything.
Your partner tore her knee up, so
yeah. But I think Fessy's reputation is going to be scarred going forward, because people don't like quitters. Mm-hmm. Even if her knee was messed up, looking at him, he didn't want to eat the food anyways. I don't think it had much to do with her knee. I don't think Fessy wanted to eat the food. He was already turned off by having to eat. And, we text about this. I don't think it's fair that Corey was able to chew and spit all the food out. Corey didn't swallow any of the food. And from other shows like Fear Factor and stuff like that, you're not able to keep doing that. If you throw up, anything comes out of your mouth, you automatically lose. Because that's not fair. Some people, like Amber B, she was actually swallowing and eating the food. Corey chewing it, like fake throwing up throughout the whole thing, so he doesn't have to swallow the food. I don't think that's fair.
I mean, I'll just say it right now. I watched the past 10 seasons finals, and every time Corey was in there, man, he was throwing up relentlessly.
Yeah, he doesn't swallow the food. He chews it.
He does it every time.
I mean, Survive the Night, he was a volcano of vomit, which that was disgusting. Gabby had the worst there. She was 6 inches away from him at all times, chained up to him, and he's just like throwing up, projectile vomiting. Yeah, I mean, first of all, Charles, I just have to say, who would want to eat that? Like, I don't think anybody would want to eat that.
You wouldn't want to, but I've seen, well, maybe this is showing my age. I'm not even that old, but watching so much of Fear Factor, they'll get it down. You'll eat it. And even if it has hair on it, toenails on it, they eat it, and you make it stay down. If you know that when you throw up, you're automatically going to lose. And speaking on Fear Factor, We talked about this earlier. We need a clock. We need a shot clock throughout these daily challenges, these eliminations. For transparency reasons, there needs to be a clock that we can see because these, oh my gosh, they won by 5 seconds. Oh my gosh, we don't even need to check the scores. Big T killed everyone. We don't need that in this game. We need to be
We
able to
need to
see
see the
what
time.
time they press their foot on the station.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, granted, they control the editing, they control the clock that they put on the ground, but I think so many times. I mean, we look at in the Invasion of the Champions finals, somebody won by 2 seconds or 5 minutes or 2 minutes, I think it was, and CT just edged out Nelson. Somebody wasn't it in the daily challenge with the helicopter? It was like 5 seconds was
Yeah, they
between the
said
first and the
like
But
second.
that's what TJ says.
Casey.
We don't
Yeah.
Yeah, they
know.
says like Casey and Teresa, they were like 2 seconds apart. Like we
That's
don't.
what they say. And how do we
Right.
know who really got the first 2 seconds? But I want to say one thing about two things about Fessy. One, I wouldn't have ate that food either. At some point, someone should have rubbed Casey on the back and went woo 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 woo, girl. You can't hop, girl. Put that blood down. You out. You can't hop the rest of this challenge. And TJ was wrong for making them feel like, well, if you eat this, you can still go on. Casey wasn't going to do anything in that kayak. She was not going to be able to climb up that mountain with those puzzle pieces. So somebody should just told her, you're out. They shouldn't even let them get to that checkpoint. She could not walk at all. She couldn't put any weight on that leg. And she's sitting here destroyed. I can't believe he made me quit. Like, girl, you could not finish. It just was not possible. So I'm not mad at Fessy for not eating that food. I wouldn't have done it either. And two, Fessy is going to be hated after this season because he's trying to play a character that he is not. Fessy on Big Brother is not the Fessy of the challenge. He's trying to play a villain. He's trying to play this tough guy role when he should just go in there and be nice, fun, and let the physical speak for itself. You don't have to announce to everyone, nobody can beat me. I'm the most physical CT you washed up. Like, you don't have to announce that. Let your body of work speak for itself. And as of right now, Fessy, you have not won anything. So you're still a loser. So you should hush more. So I think that's why people don't like Fessy, because he's not being himself.
I think it's also about your intention within the game and how much willpower you're willing to exert yourself. I think this is going to hurt Fessy's reputation more than anything. Like, I understand that, hey, we're pretty much losing a battle, but he's going to get this reputation of being somebody that that won't do something that he won't do. Like, he won't put the pedal to the metal. Like, who's going to be his partner next season and going to be like, okay, I hope you can eat. I can run. If you can eat, like, let's do this thing. Will he do it again? Or will he just make it a big excuse
really
again?
Think he wouldn't have ate? Like, they were in first or second place. I don't remember.
I think he would not.
Do you think he would have got there with a full need? Casey is ready to go. You think he would have not ate and gave up the whole final after all that ish talking all season, going into the elimination, getting his girl? You think he would have stopped right there and not ate if Casey wasn't hurt? I think he would have ate.
I don't. I think if he would have ate, he would have did the Corey. He wouldn't have actually swallowed any of the food. He might have put it in his mouth and spit it out, but I don't think he would have ate any of the food.
I think it could have been I think he possibly would have eaten a little bit more readily, but I think it would have taken him a lot longer. I think it would have taken him, I don't think he's going to be like ripping it apart and like doing all this stuff and like trying to eat everything. I think if anything, he would have taken a lot longer. He would have been the last person at the table when I was growing up. That was always the person that just did not want to eat whatever was on their plate. And I just don't think he would have been as quick as everybody else. Like, I still think CT and Amber would have crushed
they
it.
would have gave them the extra food on top of that if Casey's knee
Yeah.
was fine. So they would have really been behind. So
But I
Yeah.
think he still would have done it. He would might have been last, but he still would have done it and been like, well, I'll just catch up later.
So we have all the finals. They're running for a long time. They're doing little checkpoints. They're sleeping. They're dunking their heads in ice baths. What do you think about that ice cave, by the way? That was pretty cool. But what do you think
It
about
was
dunking your head in?
beautiful. I thought it was opposite. It should have been the person whose time to hold whatever that capsule should have dunked their head so they could wake up. Why would you dunk your head and you want to go to sleep?
And that's
It was
another thing.
backwards.
They just want to torture them. That's what they do in these finals.
Keep them awake.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this was such a blowout. This was such a blowout to where even the editing couldn't even have kept it like exciting, except for who's going to get second and third place at the end, with who's going to get that $100,000. Nani could not kick it into another gear, and Leroy finishing overall third could not even get him $100,000 because Corey and Cam came in second place together. What do we think about the end results of CT and Amber winning? Amber being a rookie this season, CT getting his fourth challenge season. Were you kind of thinking that was the way it was going to go? Were you rooting for either of them? Or was this completely not how you wanted to see the season end?
It was not how I wanted to see the season end. Honestly, even though CT was on my fantasy team, I wanted to see Leroy or Cam take it because they put in the work to get there. They had a great game going up into the final. I wanted to see Leroy go out on top. I wanted him to leave a champ. But he wanted to run with his sister, so you get what you get. You get what you get.
If you go back to our fantasy team picking video, I said it in that video that one of these two ladies are going to have a breakout year, and they both had a breakout year. I said Big T and Amber B. I said one of those women are going to have a breakout season, and they both really did. Amber B, she went to the finals, she won. And then Big T probably has the best edit I have ever seen anybody ever have on the challenge. So I was happy to see Amber B do well. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was coming in really wanting to see Leroy and Nani win. Of course, it's Leroy's final season. I wanted to see him go out on top. He was playing a great season up to that point, politically, making the moves to get him very far, but they did not make the ultimate moves to set themselves up better within the finals.
You thought that could actually happen, though?
What?
They should have threw Corey in the last elimination.
You thought Leroy could win with Nani in the final?
No, he should have threw Corey in that last elimination. So he would at least kept or been able. Oh, I'm sorry.
I mean, I'm just saying that, I mean, anything is possible. If I learned anything from Kevin Garnett, anything is possible, but it was going to be tough, especially when we started out and Leroy was like, I'm going to be back here with Nani. I was like, oh, please just come on, get some of these checkpoints and maybe we can like get up, and maybe the checkpoints weren't as good of an equalizer as everybody thought. It wasn't going to happen. I thought, if anything, Cam and Corey was going to be at least giving CT and Amber. I thought they were the couple I thought was going to do well. They had both physicality and puzzles. I thought they were going to have it, but that eating portion just took everybody out in that first day except CT and Amber. They came in and they just destroyed, and they never let go of that of their lead.
One of the comments just said, I do think if it was Leroy and Casey in the final, they would have won.
I agree.
I think Leroy and Casey as a pair would have won first place.
Do you think they would have gotten the puzzles, though? That's my only thing about it, is that would they have gotten the puzzles of the tanagram,
the math.
of the math? I don't think Casey would have gotten hurt, with Leroy as partner because he wouldn't have pushed her as hard as Fessy was because he knows that, dude, this is checkpoint 1 of day 1. Like, there's still like 16 miles we're gonna have to go.
Casey is not that bad though, because Casey, when they did the individual, when they were in the volcano, she was right behind Nani.
That's true.
Yes, Cam was in the front, but it was literally Nani and Casey right with each other with the map. So Casey isn't like a ditz or something.
No, but puzzles aren't her strong suit. I think if Cam and Leroy would have some kind of way found a way to match up with each other for the final, they would have gave CT and Amber B a run for their money because they would have had the run and Cam has the puzzles. And that's what Leroy needed. He needed a checkpoint person with him. And with Nani, he had neither.
I understand their strategy, and I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. I know their strategy of splitting apart because if you're in 2 teams, that doubles your chances of possibly winning some money. But do you think Cam and Leroy together would have been a much better and much stronger duo running these finals? I think their chemistry is good, of course, because they're partners. I'm not gonna lie, I would like to see them on like Amazing Race or something. Let's bring them onto another duo.
That'd be
Let's
cute.
put that out in the atmosphere.
That'd be great. That'd be great. Yes. I'm not gonna lie, I just thought of that. But I mean, I think they would have had a great shot, but I think that they didn't want to be together because then everybody would have maybe wanted to sabotage them, or it hinders themselves being together. Yeah,
like that last elimination. If they would have threw Corey in there, like I wanted them to. No offense, Corey, I like you. And Corey would have went home. Fessy would have took KC. And then Leroy could have took Cam. And then the pieces fall wherever they fall. And I feel like CT wins these challenges because he's the best at all these puzzles and checkpoints. And he has a little bit of production help. Like I still feel like you got to get over production help with CT as well. But Leroy and Cam was the best defense to a Amber B and CT. Because at least Cam would have helped you get there, and then Cam and CT could have fought the puzzles out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I just don't think they would have done it. I understand where they wanted to divide and conquer, but I mean, I think of like everything of how this could have happened, but I still think he would have chosen Nani in that option because of the storyline and everything circling around, but I don't know. All right.
He would have done better of taking Amber B and at least having a runner and let CT get stuck with Nani. At least Nani would have held CT back in the running.
I will say that Leroy was in amazing shape coming into the season because in the finals, that leg 1, he was jogging in front of everybody. He was in front of everybody, then looked back and was like, "Oh, Nani's back there. I'll wait." Yeah. So, I mean, he was in front of everybody. So yeah, if he did have a runner or say Casey, I think they would have been up in the front of the pack a lot of the time. So, again, another what if.
Overall, I think not Natalie. I keep talking about Natalie. I think for the women in the end, I still think Casey was the best overall woman that was left. So I personally would have rather see Leroy with her and them win it at the end, even over Cam.
You just like Casey.
That is true.
I think Cam is better than Casey overall.
Now I don't know.
I will ask because somebody did put this in there. Do we think that if Corey was thrown into the elimination at the end, do we think that Corey could have taken out Fessy in that hall brawl, or do we think Fessy's just winning that outright?
No, that would have been a great hall brawl.
That would have been fireworks.
That would have been close.
Because Corey is bigger than Nelson, so he wouldn't have. I think that would have been close, and Corey is faster. I think he's faster than Fessy. And yeah, Fessy
Mm-hmm.
might have got a good hit on Corey, but no, that would have been a
Corey is
great hall brawl.
very quick.
And then you would have had the revenge story, like, oh, now Corey can go in here and get revenge for his best friend Nelson. So he would have been fired up for that. I would have loved to see it. And I think Fessy could have went home.
I think it would have been closer, but like you said, Angie, there was that revenge storyline. I think when Nelson left, we had that confessional of Corey going like, oh, I want to get my revenge on Fessy. And then come to the end and Fessy gets purged and he's like, yeah, that's right. I made it past Fessy. It's like, you didn't get any revenge though. You said you wanted revenge, but there was no revenge throughout the whole season. We saw him talking to Fessy a lot about Tori. We saw them buddies. And I know that's part of the game of wanting to stay cool with the Big Brother alliances. They have the numbers, but I kind of just felt like it lacked there a little bit when it came down to the revenge storyline. I really wanted to see it. I really wanted to see it play out a little bit better, and I thought we were going to get it, but
next year, Big Brother is going to have a huge target on their back.
Yes, but will it be kind of like how this season started out, where everybody was like, "Oh, get the champs out, get the champs out," but then it was like cooled down after that?
I can see them wanting to get Big Brother out. And they'll start with Josh because he's the easiest.
37?
Get rid of Josh. Yeah, 37.
But which Big Brother people are in 37? Well,
all the three. Remember, they said it's only three of them. It's Josh, Casey, and Fessy. Everyone else are stragglers, hanger-ons.
That's pretty much it.
So those are the main three.
Focus. I don't think so. I think the focus will be the fact that there are so many survivors possibly on this season. I think the fact, well, Wendell has already said, I'm not there. So we know he's not there. Michaela, she's really good. She can do really well. What's the other girl's name? The one that used to be Wendell's girlfriend.
Michelle.
She's not really physical at all.
She's gonna be a layup
at all. Yeah, she's not physical, but she's a person that people like. She was never really in danger on Survivor ever. When she went to the final both times, she was never in danger. So I don't know. I think there will be a more so of a focus on the Survivor people, especially if Michaela turns up this season.
But I think only Michaela and Michelle are there based on the rumored cast, and then those people from Survivor overseas.
Well, Tommy's also.
Oh, and Tommy's
also there. I'm actually pretty upset that there? Jay was dropped. Yeah, Jay was supposed to be on there, but then he was dropped, and it was like, why? Well, like Jay has always not had numbers on his side, and now he wasn't on there. Yeah, so I mean, I think that was a missed opportunity as well. But yeah, I don't know what the storyline could be for this upcoming season. I think will all the Survivor players be like together, and then if it is double agents 2. Will the Survivor ring bring in more players? And then that's even more numbers. Like, do they have 10 people on this? However many, 26 cast members so far? Well, I don't know now because it was temporarily shut down for stuff that was going on. So,
yeah. So I think Survivor will be more the focus.
Yeah. But I heard, and this is just a rumor, that it's going to be more double agents, but fresh meat style, where it's going to be a vet and a rookie pair.
Well, it's interesting going back to the fresh meat War of the Worlds kind of well after how well that one did, but will this one play out just as well? I don't know. I mean, I'm still waiting for everything to drop. Like, I don't think we got the full cast list or the rumored cast list so far. And then with everything going on with the somebody testing positive probably and getting temporarily shut down. I mean, what's it going to look like at the end when they bring in more people? Everybody's quarantined. Will other people test positive because they were next to somebody that tested positive for a little bit that they didn't know about? Like, I don't know. I think there's still a lot of question marks that could be brought into this, and and if they bring in so many more people after this whole like breakdown or shutdown, will they just restart it? Like, what's
That's what
the
I
time
was just
frame going on?
thinking.
So
They might just have to restart it because I heard they didn't even do the first elimination. They just did the first daily challenge.
I don't know. This could
You
be.
better have all the tea. She got all the behind the scenes
Well, that was on Google. It was on Google.
Oh man. All right. So we're getting into some other branching out. Let's give the finals a quick rating out of 1 through 5, and then we can get through some closing remarks and branching off and rabbit holes if you guys want to stick around a little bit. What are we rating the finals 1 through 5? 5 being the best, 1 being no. Where are we rating this? Anybody can start out wherever they want to.
Well, seeing how my fantasy person won the final, I'm going to give it a 4.5.
Whoa! So one of the greatest of all time.
Dang.
Whoa.
Okay.
I actually liked the final. Like I liked the various checkpoints and steps of the final, but it was a blowout, so it just wasn't exciting to watch. But ultimately, CT won. I was happy to see it. I gave it a 4.5.
I'm gonna do some decimals like you guys. I'm gonna give it a 2.25. I feel like that's appropriate. It's below halfway for me. I do think for so many different reasons it could have been better. We could have had, even if they um, incorporated an aspect to where they did split up at a certain point, even if that was the math problem. After this, everybody's an individual run. And you just have to
Individual,
run.
yeah.
There's just different things I wish was different. Yeah, a 2.25 for me.
Yeah, I mean, so coming into this season as a double agents, I was thinking that this was going to be kind of more like free agents in a way, where maybe the season coming in to the finals, they were going to be switching partners because that's the whole point of a double agent. Maybe the first players in, maybe the first players into a checkpoint, like Amber and CT, for the next checkpoint, they both get to pick their partners next up, and then everybody else kind of just falls in line of whoever they didn't have, and they could swap out like that. I thought we were going to get something like that because I really liked how those finals were put together. Everybody had to. I thought it was a lot fair because guess what? You got everybody here. You didn't get the people that you wanted out now. And so now you're going to have to start working with everybody because guess what? You let everybody kind of go through this instead of putting their feet to the fire a little bit more. So I thought they were going to have to switch up a couple of times and then get to run the finals at the end by themselves solo. So I thought that was going to play a factor into it. That did not happen. I just thought it wasn't as exciting as it could have been with how big of a blowout it was. I thought some of the back end, like day 2, was kind of a little bit boring with just how quickly the puzzles were, and they were just kind of just like, hurry up, run more. We need more running footage to have. So I'm gonna lean more towards Charles's 2.25, but I'm gonna give it a 2.8 overall. Like I said, I watched the past 10 seasons finals, so I have those like weighing in my brain, and I just think it's kind of like in the middle. Like it definitely wasn't like super boring, but it wasn't like super exciting. Or I think second and third place was super exciting because they were just holding hands, walking around with each other the whole time. But
and the running wasn't that far. Like in finals of the past, TJ will be like, "You got to do this loopy loop of 6 miles 4 times." And so it seemed like, okay, TJ was like, okay, run 3 miles to this checkpoint, run 4 miles to that one. I'm like, 4 miles? That's nothing. I'm used to them having to run 20, 30 miles.
I'm just getting I'm getting the last minute details and scorings to see how everyone put this in.
But kind of like what you said, Drew, we spoke about this on our little catch up for the fantasy. I do wish they had it for every station if they were going to keep stopping everybody to where you had to keep switching partners. So at
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
very end of the day, we don't know who really won because everybody has a different time for every different station. Even back to the what season was that where we had when Tori and Jordan first got together? What season was that?
Dirty 30.
Well, that season the final was that way. So he was
Hmm.
like, "Well, we'll tell you guys the winner at the finale" type thing because everybody had different times because it was always like changing up. Um,
I
yeah,
do like that too.
I mean, TJ wasn't even there. He was on a phone. He was getting ready to peace out and not be the challenge host anymore. He was like, I'm gonna go be a firefighter. And then after a while he was like, I guess I'm not gonna do that. I want to sign back up with the challenge to be a host. So
isn't that a luxury? You can just
That's
come
the
back to
best
the show whenever
job.
you want.
yeah, I mean that was I want to say that was Dirty 30 and Vendettas. They waited until the reunion to like show off who's gonna win to get more beefing up reunion numbers and stuff. But um, so I have results of everybody adding up everybody's scores throughout this broadcast, and out of a thing of 5, Angie, your score is 2.82 is what you
Oh,
averaged out to, pretty in middle of the road kind of thing. Do you see the final? Do you see this season as a middle of the road kind of season, or did you actually like this season enough to where it maybe is a little bit higher up on the rankings of from seasons 1 through 35?
well, that 4.5 really boosted my average. So,
Yeah, she knows
Yeah, it
that
did.
math. Uh-huh.
um, I agree with the 2.8. It was a solid C season. Like I'm not in a rush to rewatch it on my Paramount app. So yeah, because it started off good and then it just was a slow burn. So it that 4.5 probably ruined it. That slow burn ruined the season and they need to work on that.
Okay. Yeah, I could see it. I mean, it was a very slow burn. And I think once you hit the midseason trailer, that's when things just kind of was like, all right, it's starting to slow down a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Charles, when taking a factor into all your scores, it came out to a 2.15. Pretty much
Sounds perfect.
lower third. Do you see it as a lower third, like underneath the midway of where you have
Sounds
the season?
sounds perfect. You can tuck this season right with the road rule season. You could just tuck it right there. Probably would never rewatch this season. And yeah, sounds about right.
Okay. I mean, where did you have last season?
Last season, who won last season? Why does I feel like that
Bananas
was so
and
long ago?
Oh,
Bananas and
bananas and
Oh,
Jenny.
Jenny.
where
Yeah.
everybody was quitting at the end. That finals was trash. How are we gonna have
No,
Bailey leave and have girl that was pregnant? What's her name?
Melissa.
Melissa.
Melissa. They both quit. Oh, that made it
I liked
horrible for me.
was last season the season that Dee ruined with whatever she said to Bailey on Twitter. So they had to cut out the drama and it was heavily edited at the end because they were trying to edit Dee out.
That was total madness, yeah.
That was last season
Yeah.
or the season before.
Why can't I
No.
remember last season?
No.
For
The
some reason, I can't remember.
season before she actually won. And then season 35 they try
Yeah.
to cut her out as much
Okay.
as possible.
That's why last season was kind of boring because they did so much chopping of the edit to get Dee out. It ruined the flow of the story.
I
But I
had
like Total Madness.
in my season review, I put it in the middle of the road. I think it became a hot mess at the end, and it was a lot. And also that finals was terrible because I heard they cut out a whole eating portion of it. They were cutting out sections of it. There was a blizzard. They're bringing in Fessy and Kyle to sleep on the couch or whatever. They gave them a bed after being out in the cold for only 6 hours or something. I don't know. That was all types of confusing at the end. And then
Yeah.
there's a whole question mark. Should have Jenny won the whole thing by herself? Wasn't it a solo season? Why are they splitting the money kind of thing? What's going on? A lot of question marks. I don't know. My rating was 2.22, which I feel is a little harsh. But maybe a week removed from the finals didn't help that this season just felt like it took forever to get through. I think this was better than last season. I put last season was in the middle of the pack for me. So, I mean, maybe I was a little too harsh on some of these, but I think the eliminations and the final just were not up to snuff for me. But maybe
I don't think you were too harsh, buddy. I think we're right. We're right in the ballpark. It does seem very low, but it's because that's what they gave us. The fact that we had to watch a season where so many people were just being sent home,
Quitting, yeah.
Every episode, somebody was being sent home, and it wasn't because they were being eliminated. It just that really, really blew this season.
It ruins the flow of the game. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Prime TYM 24 says it perfectly. It started off really good. Like I think there was a lot of twists. There was a lot of complex elements. I think it was something way different than we'd ever seen on the challenge before, and then it really started to fizzle out towards the end. And
the cast is why we were so. And there were so many people of color. We were hype about that too. We were like, "Oh my God, there's so many brown people. This is about to be good. We about to, it was. I was excited for so many reasons with the cast and Natalie. Just when Natalie left, that really for me.
That was hard. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Lolo saying, "Oh, I'm just gonna go to the."
When she quit for the Olympics, I was over it.
Man,
girl, you knew the Olympics. You knew that calendar when you signed
up. I mean, yeah, it all worked out for her in the end, but I think there was just a lot to go over, and I just think that the season had a lot of good intentions to it. I just didn't think the execution was fully there. But we're gonna see what happened next season. I mean, like we were talking about, the rumored cast list is everybody from this season. Or a lot of players coming back from this season to next season, plus Amanda, and then a whole bunch of rookies, like a ton of rookies. I don't know. I think what really comes into this is the alliance and the numbers. I think that's what really comes into play, and it kind of makes the game a little bit more predictable when you have so many people like, oh, well, we'll just work together. We don't care as long as whoever wins is in our group, and then we're gonna just vote in whoever we want. And kind of thing. And when you have too many numbers, like I was watching The Island, once you have the numbers, the game kind of goes easy street for you, and you can put it on cruise control. So
big brother, and that's why a Big Brother season would really suck when there's a big alliance and they just pick everybody off one by one.
I mean, are you talking about the last like 8 seasons?
Yeah,
right.
I mean. All right. So any final comments about the season? I mean, I know we went through a lot. We went through it piece by piece, but any other lasting comments? Something that you want to see tweaked before going into next season? What are we thinking?
I want MTV to, well, we know they watch your videos, Drew. So when they check this out, I do want them to hit us up in the DMs, because if y'all need some writers, if y'all need somebody behind the scenes to help y'all with the flow of the show, hit us up. Hit Drew, myself, Miss Angie. We will help y'all out, because they had great ideas, but there were just certain things that needed to be tweaked because of maybe they weren't thinking about how the viewer would feel about it. They were just like, well, this is what we got, so this is what we're going to do. Yeah.
Okay. They need to fix the skull twist. Everything else would be great if 1 week that alarm goes off and you have to pack your bags and go home if you don't have a skull.
Period.
That will fix the skull twist. That will make it more exciting. That will make people want to fight to get their skull early. And then instead of 5 skulls, give out 8, and then once you get to the 8, make those 8 fight it out to the final. So If they fix that, it will make the game much more exciting.
I think that okay, first of all, Charles, I don't know if MTV actually watched my videos, but they blocked enough of them throughout the years that they put me on blast. They put me on blast a couple of times. I know they didn't like that drunk moments montage I put up there. Let's just be real. I think production just put their. I think production has too much control in here a little bit. Like the format of the show really let them be able to just like really just do whatever they really want. And even if they were playing, even if the rules and the format were going the way that they just designed it, it just felt like it was too much was happening behind the scenes rather than letting the competitors just do their thing. I think they're worried about the product that they're putting out, and they're worried that they have maybe too many rookies. And so when they come in, they're just like, okay, we need to like really get something going on here. Rather than in the past where they could just like drop everybody in a room full of their exes and then they can just let them just duke it out and put together a good daily challenge or a final and then have that going on. So I just would like to have more of like the challenge just being the challenge and then letting the competitors just do their thing within the game. I just felt like there was some weird wonky edits here and there to really like get it going. But that's just my thought process behind the season. I want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you so much, Charles and Angie, for being here, talking about the season that has been one of the longest seasons, and we went for one of the longest talk times of 2 hours and 21 minutes. I appreciate you. Where can everybody find you?
2 hours and 20 minutes, all fun. It didn't even seem like 2 hours. It was a great time.
Yeah.
I'm everywhere at Kiss My Cheek TV, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter.
Well, my name is Charles Warren. You can find me on YouTube, Charles Warren Online. If you head over there, you'll see all three of us talking about Big Brother. You'll see me talking about music videos. I do random stuff on my YouTube channel. But I'm most active on Instagram. It's the Charles Warren. Yeah, hit me up. And thanks again, Drew, for having us. We really appreciate it. And we're going to keep doing videos together. So this is kind of just like a family check-in. Like, they don't really know us, but y'all need to search the web. You'll see Drew everywhere on our channel. So yeah, hit us up.
This was fun. And we're definitely going to do fantasy again because that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I was able to keep up with it better than I'm keeping up with this All-Stars Fantasy League beta, whatever it is on the phones. I keep on forgetting to set my lineup. I think I still have like Mark, Ruthie, and Nehemiah still like working out and doing their thing on my fantasy league. But you guys always bring me into your videos. I was happy to have you on here, and I would love to keep on having you over for lives. And I just really appreciate everyone coming in. Yeah, thank you so much. I had a great time. This is a great way to start my Fridays after doing 4 videos this week. So
he works hard. He works hard for y'all. So y'all need to support the channel. Go ahead, plug the merch, Drew. Go ahead and plug the merch.
Oh yeah, show that shirt.
Yeah, you can get all this stuff. You can get all this stuff. You get a mug. I don't know where the mugs are. Oh, here it is. You can get a mug. Everything is reasonably priced because I wouldn't buy some of the stuff that's on Teespring for how much money it is. Let's just be real. Thank you again to everybody. I hope everyone has a great weekend. Thank you again to Angie and Charles. Go check them out. And we're going to be doing some more stuff here coming in the summer. And I heard Big Brother's coming back. So
Survivor will probably be the
they
first
get
thing
one
we
more
see.
chance.
We'll probably talk Survivor first.
Oh my goodness, please.
I love Survivor.
We're going to have some talks on Survivor. Let's just be real. It's been way too long. But thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend.